Hi, TJ Chambers here again with another video about regaining local control. And I want you to know, as I expressed before, that to gain our country back, and if you're from other countries, you can do the same thing in your area. It's about getting control of your country for the people. And while things are a little different with different statutes and regulations for each country, there are a lot of countries that are Commonwealth countries, just like the United States is. And some examples are Australia, the UK, Canada. And so there are groups in these different countries already that are doing things to regain local control, regain freedom and sovereignty of the people. And there was a video that I watched of Ronald Reagan where he affirms the sovereignty of the people. And I think the video was from back in the 60s. And the reason why I say that is because I had a conversation with my local police department, and I had a quote in my signature on my email that said something about being a sovereign without subjects. And so the local sergeant at the police department said that concerned him with that statement because this what do you call this, subversive group, the Southern Poverty Law Center, whatever it's called, they have people that call themselves sovereigns labeled as terrorists, right-wing militia members and groups. And so he started questioning me about, this whole issue of a militia and want to blow up buildings or fight the government with guns or whatever. But even Ronald Reagan, which was one of the presidents, even discusses the sovereignty of the people. So if it's not true that the people aren't sovereign, which it's also in the Constitution, we the people created the Constitution, then I think they should take that up with Ronald Reagan and all the others before him that discuss the same issue. So back to regaining local control, especially with that healthcare bill that just passed in the USA just recently, that takes more control away from the people if we subject ourselves to it. And so that's going to be the thing. Are you going to subject yourself to this healthcare bill? I'm not going to. They can do and say and try to do what they want. I'm not subjecting myself to it. And getting some victories, small victories, is going to help you to build confidence. And one of those ways where you can start to learn and to understand and see what other people have done to get victories is, for example, this workbook here that I bought. Got this workbook from Hour of the Time, and it's all about the efforts of regaining local control, empowering the local county government. That's where your power is at. That's where your safety's at. Most powerful law enforcement agent officer in the country is not the FBI. They have the least amount of power in the country, the FBI. Federal government is the least powerful agency in this country. And I'm going to discuss more of that in other videos later on. And they would have you believe that they're the most powerful. But see, when you don't know, then you let them run over you, and they will do that. So this goes into a lot of information about statutes, federal statutes. You have some different acts like the Federal Land Policy Management Act. We have different acts dealing with the EPA. We have transportation acts. So it goes and it deals with the acts and the text and the requirement to coordinate, not cooperate, with the local governments. And so there's a big difference between coordinate and cooperate. If you've ever dealt with any officers of state or county governments, they make you believe that they have to cooperate, meaning they have to pretty much do what the federal government wants them to do. But that's not even true, not even in the statutes and acts. It all talks about coordination. And that means that the county or the state government isn't equal to the federal government in dealing with federal lands. Not one is superior over the other. But in other issues, then the county is superior to the federal government. Like, for example, if a federal agent wants to come after you, you're not on federal land, then the county government can say, get out of here, you're not coming in our county, in our property. We have Homeland Security Organization. I mean, that's certainly something today you want to learn about, isn't it? Because Homeland Security is doing all kinds of things. You have the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, which I know recently Overland Park, Kansas decided to start pushing for the Clean Water Act, now requiring new buildings to be built to filter all water coming off of their property, whether it's a building, whether it's water that's running through the property and continuing on. All water has to be filtered. Now think about that. If you were going to build a house and they're saying, all right, you have to install a water filtration system for any water that runs off of your roof down into the ground, must be filtered by you. You have to install a water filter system. And any water that's going to run from somewhere else onto your property, or if it rains on your property, you have to filter that water before it can be sent on to the rivers or whatever. So think about the ridiculousness of that. Now also in this, there are case examples of what people have done. And case examples are showing you specific things. So for example, this one was the I-35 superhighway. It has all this documentation of everything that was done, meetings that took place, things that happened. It has real letters. It has the real letters that were used by people and exactly what was said in them. So we're talking about like real documentation, real information here of things that happened where people were able to fight and have victories. And we have several cases here. I know one's in my state, in Kansas. So you get to walk through exactly what people have done and the things that they have sent. Now this is the introduction to this workbook that I just wanted to give you, let you know that this is the kind of information that needs to get out. The kind of information that does not need to get out is make sure everybody knows that the Federal Reserve is privately owned. How long has that been known, and how long has it been out? And what's being done about it? There's nothing. Ron Paul and his little shenanigans, end the Fed or audit the Fed or whatever it was, where did that go? Nowhere. So we need to deal with real education, real information that is making a change, that's making a difference and an impact, and getting people victories, siding for freedom, siding for the people, and to stop this stuff that's going on in our country that's trying to take our rights away, trying to take our freedoms away. And speaking of this superhighway, my city is supposed to be the central hub for this thing. So now I have something where I'm getting educated about, and I can start looking into how far has this thing progressed. Right now, in my state, in my city, and now I have information that's going to equip me to, if this thing pops its head up, that I can take it on and I can fight it, and hopefully I can have people to help me to do this. This is the kind of information that's educational and that's solution oriented that needs to get out. Not you need to buy my DVD about how we're not backed by gold, or buy my DVD about this new world order that's coming. You know, let's get some real victories, let's get some real documentation, and let's get some real freedoms and stop running around with video cameras and loudmouth horns and these different protests going on that aren't accomplishing anything. We need to accomplish stuff. Now with this workbook, to really fully understand everything that this is all about, to understand your rights, to understand the power that you have and the freedoms that you can get back and you can obtain for yourself, and you can help other people. All of this is provided by Hour of the Time. It's houroftetime.com. And I have all these resources that I'm recommending, and I bought all of them. So this first one is the workbook. The second one, History of Property Rights. The third one, Allodial Titles and Land Patents. And the third one, Limits of Federal Jurisdiction. You need to understand that the federal government is limited in their power. If the federal government walks up to your door, FBI comes to your door and says, "We're the FBI, we're here to talk to you, let's go, sit down on your couch and you're going to answer us." What are you going to do? Are you going to be a coward, and are you going to put your tail between your legs and run upstairs and sit on the couch and answer every question they have? Or are you going to tell them to take a hike? Tell them that their power is limited and cite to them where they have authority and jurisdiction and that they better leave right now. So with this series, audio series, with hundreds and hundreds of pages of documentation and case law and court citing and everything that tells you about the limits of the federal government and their power. Allodial titles and land patents. If you have a deed to your property, a deed title to your house, you don't really own it. The real titles that shows ownership, which cannot be taken from you, are the allodial titles and the land patents. That's what's going to give you the ownership. That will stop people from taking your property from you. They cannot take it from you when you have your land patent of your property. And what that's going to require you to do is to do research, do real research on your property to see the change of hands. It went from this person had the land patent and then it went to this person and this person, this person. Trace it back, get your land patent, and gain control. That's something you can do. It's non-confrontational, where you don't have to be afraid of, oh, do I have to go and try to explain this to a police officer and he's going to laugh at my face or something. This is something you can do. Learn about property rights. And property rights will teach you that property is not just I have a car. Property is not just I have a house or I have land. I mean, property is all kinds of things. You have minerals. You have water. You have trees. Property is all kinds of things, and you got to understand, just because you don't own the land doesn't mean that you don't have rights on the land. So someone else can own the land, but you can still have rights on the land that cannot be taken away. So all of these are going to educate you and teach you about some of the things that go on, and it's going to give you the introduction for the authority and the power that is discussed in this workbook. And it's going to help you to understand it all. It's going to bring a complete circle of information that's going to give you the big picture to understand more of your power and more of your rights. Now what I'm going to do, this is going to be about another hour, 50 minutes or so. But I'm going to, with permission from Hour of the Time, the rest of this is going to be a broadcast by Hour the Time that was just done recently, their victories and the introduction to this workbook right here, their victories that they are getting in fighting for their rights, for property that the federal government is trying to take from them, and they are winning. And you need to hear about it. You need to hear that people really are winning. When you have real research, real education, real facts, you can win. So I want you to listen to this and get educated. And right now, it's March the 25th. There's a series going on right now that Hour of the Time is doing, and it's about civil disobedience. It's your right and your duty to disobey laws, regulations that are unconstitutional, that are unlawful, that don't apply to you. I'll give you an example of civil disobedience that I did. I was just married not too long ago. I was doing reading and I found out that what a license is. A license, when you read the definition in law books, a license is permission to do something that is otherwise illegal. And, marriage was something that was given by God. And as many Christians say, it was ordained by God. It's in the Bible that God put a man and a woman together. So why would I need a license to do something that's not illegal? It is not illegal to get married. Unless, like at this time, same-sex marriage is illegal. At the time that a marriage certificate, marriage license was created, it was for a white owner to marry his slave. And many cases, a white owner to marry his black slave, it was not acceptable and it was against the law. So then a marriage license was created for intermarriage. You look at the original definition, Black's Law Edition 1, and I think, maybe 2. A marriage license, it's a license to intermarry, meaning you have two different Indian tribes, one wants to marry the other one. You have people of two different nationalities, two different nations, from one nation to another wants to get married, and people of two different races want to marry. So they tried changing it to say everyone is required to get a marriage license. Why? They get you to sign your name, they take away your rights, and they take your money, they take your property. It's a way to get your rights taken from you. And I end with this last one. HOTT had this property rights 4-part DVD series, and in it there was a guy that used to work for the forest, the Federal Forester Agency. I don't remember what it's called. And he was saying to one of his supervisors or whoever he worked with, like, you can't take these people's property from me. They have rights on there. How are you going to take this from them? And what they say? We just get them to sign something. You sign over your rights, sign over your property, and then they have, in their eyes, they have the authority to take it from you. But it's fraud that's put upon you. So that voids your contract with them when it's a fraud. So listen on. I've yapped on enough, 20 minutes or whatever. So listen on. You're going to learn some great stuff. And visit hourthetime.com. If the civil disobedience series is done by now, purchase it. Get it with these other ones. This workbook, the coordination workbook package they have is the strategy for local control, history of property rights, allodial titles and land patents, limits of federal jurisdiction, civil disobedience, and they're going to be doing one on the Constitution, studying it from line by line. All of these are going to fit together, and you need to learn about them all. So when you go to hourthetime.com, you'll see a link or a button that says HOTT Shop. And when you go to that page, either you're going to see coordination workbook package, or you're going to go to the the shopping cart, and you just go through some of the buttons, and you'll find a book page where at the bottom is a workbook, and the series page where you can get all these series. Contact HOTT and say, look, I want all of these. Can we work out a package deal where I can get them all in one package, big educational package, and save some money? I'm sure they will do that for you and with you. I highly recommend it. You are going to get an unbelievable education from all this. I've only been doing this for about 2 years now, and I'm blown away by the information that they provide. All right, so here comes Doyle Shamley at houroftheTime.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Hour of the Time with your host here, Doyle Shamley, in Eagar, Arizona. Tonight, Tuesday, the 2nd of March, 2010. Now, after the cursory information and the break for you to get notes, snacks, drinks, whatever, we have a wonderful broadcast for you here this evening. Now, of course, I think that most broadcasts here are wonderful, but this one, again, in the world of always dark and gloomy news and how bad things are, and lack of activity out there, tonight, again, Hour of the Time gets to proudly boast about real victories in the fight for sovereignty, freedom, and property rights. And property rights, ladies and gentlemen, are one of the most fundamental aspects of all our freedoms in this republic. Almost every freedom that we're supposed to have, or the few that we still have, and everything envisioned by our great republic, the Constitution, and the Founding Fathers, 90% of it's based on property rights, ladies and gentlemen. I've stressed that over the years, and we have another stunning victory, I think better than the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals victory from last June 6th. Even better than that. So, be ready to take notes after our normal musical break, because I'm going to teach you how, again, Hour of the Time's methodology, be proactive and have solutions. We're going to teach you more how you can get involved right in your own backyard with research material that we have available, including some freebies for tonight and other materials that you can purchase because we had to purchase them from the printers. Huge books. How you can do this same thing in your own backyard. So, if you want to write the Hour of the Time, you may do so by writing Hour of the Time, or HOTT, H-O-T-T, P.O. Box 940, Eagar, spelled E-A-G-A-R, Arizona 85925. Again, that's Hour of the Time, P.O. Box 940, Eagar, Arizona 85925. The website, houroftheTime.com. That's houroftheTime.com. The studio in Arizona, the phone number, 928-333-2942. That is 928-333-2942. And the studio in Canada, 613-733-4324. 613-733-4324. Now, if you'd like to contact me directly for questions, research suggestions, to share research you've done, to comment on future programming, suggestions for the Hour of the Time here and the Worldwide Freedom Radio Network, email me directly at houroftheTime@hotmail.com. That's houroftheTime@hotmail.com. Now I have, before the musical break, some announcements to make as well. We're going to cover this week more homestead-type gardening, survival gardening, square-foot gardening, herbal gardening in an episode. We're going to do broadcasting on colloidal silver. A lot of questions about that out there. A lot of misinterpretations and misnomers floating around out there. Also, many of you newer to firearms or advancing in your firearm skills, we're going to cover why when you ask me, do I recommend a certain bullet weight? Why do I ask certain questions of what you own? Why do the other professionals out there and writers do that? Why does barrel twist affect the ammunition you pick? Why do sometimes what seems backwards or contrary, why do sometimes lighter bullets strike with more energy? Caveats about different operating systems like semi-automatics and lever actions, muzzle energy explained, interchangeability of ammo, instance 7.62 by 51 NATO and 308. That's going to be some of the topics covered this week. And besides our new victories here at Hour of the Time and CMLUA, Charlie Mike, you get that? Charlie Mike, Lima Uniform Alpha. That's the abbreviation, which some of you are members of out there in the listening audience even, because we're national. And many more of you will probably want to become members after hearing tonight's broadcast. But we also, please don't forget to listen and tune in to Jack Blood's broadcast besides our own on Thursday. And, email him. Hey, good job, Jack. We like hearing Doyle an hour at the time on your program. Good job. We're going to be talking about property rights. I haven't even had the chance to contact him about this recent victory. Brand new today. Because we had already planned this interview last night. We're going to talk about property rights out there. Many of the new things, Agenda 21, Wildlands Project, Biosphere Treaties, Bioregional Governance, so-called forward thinking, collaboration, cooperation, coordination, some of the legal differences there. And we're going to also clear up a lot of the air concerning some recent issues that have been broadcast around and on the chat rooms and on the websites recently about some of the programming and host out there. We're going to clear a lot of that up as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's my basic announcements. I know they were drug on this evening. The week's schedule, and the biggest caveat in all these victories is that the bulk, and when I say bulk, I'm talking 98% plus of this current victory, again, another victory today, is and was out of personal pocket. But that only goes so far, ladies and gentlemen. Hour of the Time is listener supported. And with your support, we can hit more fronts, be in more places all the time. We have invitations for Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin areas right now this summer to train and teach how to stand up for your freedom, sovereignty, and rights. And we're going to do it. Western Canada, British Columbia, that region, there. But we can only do so much out of our personal pockets. If you want to see more victories from people who don't just blather and scream on the air about special forces soldiers following them all over town and whining and crying all the time, proactive, make things happen, that's Hour of the Time. If you want to see more and see accelerate and restore our constitutional freedoms and republic, you need to support the Hour of the Time. We can do more with your support, because this all takes massive amounts of ink and paper and phone bills and bandwidth and gas and tires and oil changes. Today alone, besides this broadcasting right now, 3 board meetings, a county coalition meeting, staff meetings with, not Hour of the Time staff, educating staff at various levels of municipal, county, and state government. Relations as far as names, dates, here's how you spell it. Interviews with reporters for newspapers that were there on the scene today. Gas and mileage and tires. Today alone, 250 miles. All of this fit in one day. But we're exhausted. We cannot be stretched any farther. If you want to see more victories from the people that make it happen, Hour of the Time, you need to support us. Donations are great. We love them. But better yet, donate for research materials in the form of DVDs, MP3 bundles, special series, individual broadcasts, printed materials, on and on and on. We have a numerous amounts of them. Real materials, ladies and gentlemen, documented, available via our website, houroftheTime.com, and the HOTT shop. Get out there and do it, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot of opportunities in front of us right now, and we need to do it with your help. So, with that said, we're going to go to musical break and then be prepared to start writing lots of notes on lots of codes, dates, etc., and find out how you too can have victories towards real freedom, not blathering and screaming on the air like many hosts like to do, real on-the-ground victories to take back sovereignty, freedom, and power to the counties where it belongs, and your cities where you live, and your neighborhoods. We're going to teach you how, and even tell you how to get resources. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, your host here, Doyle Shamley in Eager, Arizona, with the Hour of the Time. Welcoming you to another broadcast here, Tuesday the 2nd of March, 2010. Now, this offer, because we'd like you to have research in your hands, this offer is for tonight, Tuesday the 2nd of March, 2010. While it's live, email me, and I'll send you scanned copies of the documents, a PDF, of course, of the documents used in today's victory for states' rights, county rights, which is where it belongs, and to stop aggression by out-of-control federal agencies. Ladies and gentlemen, what has occurred because of people not doing anything, people electing politicians, not statesmen or representatives, but politicians, over the last few generations, what has occurred is that the power structure in our republic has been turned around to a theocracy, basically. But we'll stick to what they like to say, which is not correct, democracy, which is mobocracy. And the power has been flipped around, where Washington, people think, and allow them to behave, are the ultimate rulers and kings. Not the person, not the sovereign, not the freeholder, not the freeman with Allodial. Instead, the president and White House, all backwards, ladies and gentlemen, down to where municipalities, and I use that term loosely, you may be a township, you may be a nothing, you may be a city of, I don't know what you are, where you live. You know what I mean. And most importantly, the counties. They're in the states, within the boundaries of the states, which are 50 states, which are sovereign, ladies and gentlemen. 50 states. We have some wonderful writings on that available. The supreme leadership and rule of power comes from we the people. And we grant minor activities to your local municipality. I grant you the authority to hire a crew and maintain gutters and sewer. And in exchange, we're willing to pay some fee. Contractual law, ladies and gentlemen, in between the two of you parties. And as a county, a geographical region, assembled of cities and people, ultimately the highest form of power. Hence, the sheriff, the highest authority of the land, to enforce the ultimate seat of power, the counties. Then the states. The states can deal with each other. I, in Eager, don't have to worry about dealing with Nevada, in other words. Arizona, the state capital people, that we tell them through very minor powers, you have the right to barely do this, this, and this, and that's it. And it includes these functions. And that's a common one. Maybe your neighboring states. And then only what is specifically delegated to the central government by the U.S. Constitution is what Washington's supposed to be allowed to do. Or, as we've detailed at great length And you need to get these series, ladies and gentlemen. Allodial title and land patents. The history of property rights. These are must-have exposés, multi-part broadcasts, ladies and gentlemen. You need to get those to understand all this. But Washington, in their very small, limited areas of operations around the country, only on properties see the federal jurisdiction audio series, ladies and gentlemen. Only when the states, by an act of the Assembly of the state, cede the property and it's adopted by an act of Congress assembled, entered into the books, fiduciary responsibilities and contractual responsibilities taken care of, and the basically 1 through 5, which is truly how it's deemed, categories of jurisdiction hammered out, with the course of state retaining whatever they want, as much or as little, and the little bit left, then in writing, the Fed can have on that little given piece of property. We got away from all that, ladies and gentlemen, through having elected representatives, as they're sometimes called. Politicians is really the only name that fits. There's a lot worse, but that fit better, but I shouldn't say them right now on the air. But see, people sat back and didn't want to be educated and be proactive for their freedoms. It was easier to watch TV or to play ping pong or whatever you do, and to elect somebody to trot off, getting paid by you, to, again, trot off again to golf or whatever they do, drink, chase their man and boy, custodians that run around the halls of Congress, whatever the sick or normal people do in their particular instance. And then they, because everything's backwards, we didn't really pay attention when they said, well, we're now going to form this agency, and we're going to appoint some bureaucrats, red tape specialists, to write administrative law and arbitrary law. And, well, you did elect me, and I did make this, so it's kind of like you making that, so we're going to say it's legal. And hence now, some bureaucratic agency that you can't unelect, you had no say in their choosing, but you're heavily funding them, going broke doing it, now has taken away your power. But there is a way to get that back, and that is to return to the ultimate seat of authority, your counties. Now, as I've clearly documented, the history of property rights audio series, the writings we've done on jurisdiction and property rights on the website, in Veritas News exclusives, and they're there on the archives. The jurisdiction, federal jurisdiction audio series, that is, and those are writings that went along with it. We have documented clearly how to fix things. Well, another major victory has been struck today by CMLUA, the property rights group, the preeminent one really in the country, because property rights being one of the most fundamental things. Now remember, all words have legal definitions at some point. And property rights, people too often assume to real estate, which is a legally defined term, a geographical area surveyable on the earth. Property rights isn't just about real estate. It hardly has anything to do with real estate. Property rights are a fundamental concept of a free people, a sovereign people, a king amongst each other. The ruling class telling the government, we have this very minor thing we're going to allow you to do, and that's all, because we don't have the time here in Arizona for all of us to fly and make some negotiation with India. Now, you can reestablish that, ladies and gentlemen, despite what you've been told and despite how maybe you've been beat down. There are numerous broadcasters out there that yell and scream all day long and scare people into submission, inactivity, And that is part of the agenda of the fifth column, the agent provocateurs out there, ladies and gentlemen, socialist. And they're doing a good job of it. And they have thousands and thousands of Kool-Aid drinkers, their listeners, that get nothing done. They've been beaten to submission, convinced there's no way to do anything, and that's not the case. And we just proved it again today, just like last year's Ninth Circuit Court victory. Well, what happened, ladies and gentlemen, is when you learn what your rights are and you assert them as a brave man or woman out there in our republic, you can take those rights back. And you have to tell your representatives in no uncertain terms that you will do this. Or you will not exist the way you do right now. As in, we'll unelect you, we'll try you for treason, we'll have you in jail, whatever the severity is in your particular area. But you need to do it authoritatively, and that is based on research and knowledge. The aggressions in this country, ladies and gentlemen, and the current biggest attack in this country, as I've detailed on broadcast over and over again, come under the guise of, in all 176 forest districts in the United States, or the 50 states combined, and out of Washington, of course, fulfilling needs and goals of communists like Al Gore, illegal treaties and agreements by and written for and through non-government organizations, again, someone that you can't make answer to you until you rein them in and get rid of them. Wildlands Treaty, bioregional governance, the biosphere treaties, Kyoto treaties, the Wilding Project, and the two biggest threats, ladies and gentlemen, to property rights in this United States, fulfilling goals of Agenda 21 ultimately, are the forest plan revisions, which we got booted last June 6 in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and the travel management rules, as it's called. And as usual, it's politician doublespeak to make you feel good and warm and fuzzy inside, and just, you stupid peons out there don't know anything, let us tell you how to live. Ladies and gentlemen, what many of you consider public lands, which I've done whole discourses on that, there are no public lands, by the way, anymore, that is, because it's a legally defined term. But on, as they're called at least by many people, public lands, national forest, easements for ingress and egress, patented lands, state trust lands, BLM lands, national park lands, the government is the largest owner, ladies and gentlemen. There is a difference in laws I've detailed in great depth in all those audio series, as I told you, that you need to get, ladies and gentlemen, about jurisdictional lands, government-controlled lands, government-owned lands. Huge differences in the spectrum. The government may be the largest owner of lands, but are they the largest controller? No. There is a level per the United States Attorney General's manual for all U.S. attorneys. I detailed in length how you can research this, right for your own little area even, through the GSA, General Services Administration. We did whole broadcasts on this. What has been properly ceded by the state as an act of the State House assembled, adopted as an act of Congress assembled, jurisdictional boundaries worked out, then they have jurisdiction only through certain levels. The bulk, ladies and gentlemen, of that government ownership to be dispensed to us, the free peoples, the sovereigns, the freemen of this country, is only the lowest classification of jurisdiction. The worst of the 5 categories, custodial only. We're telling them, Okay, BLM, national parks, whoever. You can have this chunk within the state here of, I'll pick on Arizona, within the state of Arizona. And this is how it works. We're going to, as an act of the State House assembled, signed by the governor, give you this surveyed piece here as custodial jurisdiction only. And we'll let you call it whatever national park, forest, region you want to call it, but all we're giving you is custodial. So if we come under a foreign invasion, you need to defend it. If it's threatened by wildfires on a grand scale, you need to come help us if we can't handle it first, and we ask you to come help us. That is how it works, and is most of the time the way it is. When you do your research based on all those audio series, as I already mentioned, and look into through the GSA, General Services Administration, you'll find some interesting facts. The Hour the Time Arizona headquarters is in one of the largest counties, documented longest county, geographically, in the nation. We have some of the largest stands of white pine in the world, for instance. Painted deserts, everything you can imagine. Petrified forest, you name it. Now, if you were to listen to the agencies that claim they assert jurisdiction over you, they'll tell you, oh, we've got all these hundreds of thousands of acres that we manage and we control and we dictate. Wrong. Write the GSA as we did. You'll find out it's a stunningly small amount. Here in Apache County, for instance, checking the proper jurisdiction per the U.S. Attorney's own manual, you'll find out, based county by county within your state, who owns what land, how it was ceded, the level of jurisdiction of the 5 levels, when it was done, and the acreage down to the 10th of an acre surveyed. In all of our giant county, contrary to the hundreds of thousands of acres federal agencies will tell you they own and control and tell you what to do on, they have only a whopping 263 acres. Not 1,000, ladies and gentlemen, 263 acres that were properly ceded, documented, admitted to by the jurisdictional books of the General Services Administration who handles all that. So, how do you put them in check? Well, first off, contrary to Kool-Aid drinkers all over, which Hour of the Time doesn't want those, we don't endeavor to attract them, you need to become active in restoration of the Republic and freedoms. That takes research and your LPCs, leather personnel carriers. That means your shoes hitting the street and getting something done. Get the history of property rights. Get the federal jurisdiction series. Get the readings that come in the packages. Read them. Don't just look at them and brag to your friends that you got them. Read them. Research them. Then you can do like we did today. What you do, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's offer is this. I will send you, if you email tonight, the 2nd of March, Tuesday, 2010, while this broadcast is new and live, I will email you back. If you just email me at hourthetime@hotmail.com, I'll email you back the actual county resolutions that were unanimously passed today in Apache County that now are already in the hands of 9 other counties just since 9 this morning for passage to seize back all controls based on the law, and guess what, signed off and approved by even the county attorneys because it's all legal. I'll send you our exact resolutions that we used just today for this unanimously voted by every county supervisor, planning and zoning, engineering, county attorney, everybody, every department. And guess what? For Apache County, Arizona, for the interdisciplinary team to represent the county to all federal land agencies to do anything within the county, Apache County of Arizona, I was named as the representative for my county. Why? because the county attorney and the board of supervisors and planning and zoning and public works and the library district and the hospital district and the finance and on and on and on said I was the most qualified because they had seen our work. They verified it. And that's the very work unanimously approved today. Now is me, the appointed person representing the entire county to the federal government. As of today, I will send you if you'll email me tonight. Also, I'll send you some documents on the authority of the sheriff in your county. And also a document that I entitled that I used to show them their rights. And they were dumbfounded. Several counties now out west, and since 9 this morning, as I said, 9 counties have this in their hands. And tonight, I have meetings with city councils now as well, besides this broadcast, because they were doing it at each city level too. I'll send you the authority of the sheriff and that other document I call Coordination and Cooperation with Counties. Now, it's kind of sounds like a stupid title, and it kind of is, quite honestly, but I have so many documents. The hard drives are incredibly full and incredibly large. I'm working off a 250 gig, 2 500 gigs, and a terabyte. And they're all just with sovereignty, freedom, and property rights, real documents and laws, not mumbo-jumbo out there spread around by screaming hosts, real facts. All of them are at 80% capacity. So I have to name stuff that sometimes is ignorant, but it's how I can find it. So you might get documents that have a title that seems goofy, but I can remember where it's at, though. Those are your freebie offers, because I want you to become educated. We need you as fellow freedom-loving individuals in this fight for the restoration of the Republic. We need you in every corner of this country. And all over Canada and all over the world. I don't care where you're at. We need you as allies. So, email me at hourthetime@hotmail.com. I'll send you the sheriffs, the coordination and cooperation, and the actual resolution, written, checked out, written by us here, Hour of the Time, verified by doctorates in property rights from several different university systems who are also in our group, proactive people again, work with us day in and day out, the county attorneys, the state attorney generals, all said, holy cow, till we saw this, we didn't even know we had this power and rights. And you're right, it's all 100% checked out, and it's legal, we're doing it. As it was put this morning by a wonderful Navajo gentleman, we have let it go too far. Another Navajo leader and a county supervisor said, these agencies are on purpose, driving a wedge between us and our white brothers, as we've worked for years to establish friendly working relationships, to split us apart and make us enemies so that they can win. Ladies and gentlemen, when you educate people, it's like hitting them with a 2x4 upside the head. And if they're good people, which is all we want to work with anyway, or we replace them, recall them, get them voted out, whatever you got to do, try them for treason. Good people will acknowledge that, holy cow, I've been dumb for a long time. I have a doctorate degree, and I didn't even know any of this. I need to do my job. And as another person put it in hearings this morning, all the legal hearings that went on, this is how this country's supposed to be ran. By us. And we're putting the stakes in the ground, and don't cross that line anymore. All backgrounds, ladies and gentlemen, probably every religion that I could feasibly think of in that meeting. And if you want to know how hot and bad it is, I've been ruder on the air to ignoramuses that have approached the Hour of the Time or threatened us or attacked us than I am in public meetings unless they push at me. And I have this reputation and good standing of knowledge. That's why the state Senate televised me teaching them about jurisdiction, and representatives, and county councils, commissioners, supervisors, whatever you might have where you live. It's different everywhere. That's why we've been invited now, in the last 24 hours, to educate the largest areas in Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth now. California, about 2 o'clock. I'm not a threat unless you threaten me. My only threat is knowledge and research to little pea-brained, ignorant little socialists who are scared and cannot work on facts. A meeting a week ago, prepping for this, I walk in a little late from the start of the meeting, but I also know that they got to do this and this and this, so I'm not going to be late for any of the agenda items I have to speak on. And I walk into a packed house because people are fed up and they're ready to push back. But not only that, I walk into law enforcement out the yin-yang, all over the place, by the doors, behind me. People I know in plain clothes, not in uniform, just a badge on their belt. Because the bad people, as I'll call them, in other words, the scum-sucking socialist out there who would try to tell you how to live and take all your rights away and enslave you, ladies and gentlemen, said they were scared, so they needed protection. That is part of defacing you, ladies and gentlemen, so it will happen as you get educated. And you'll start with all these audios, tonight's broadcast, all the audio series that I mentioned. Federal jurisdiction, history of property rights, allodial title and land patents. Also, my freebie offers tonight, the actual resolution, where now I am appointed to deal with, to represent our entire county. All matters with any land dispersion, agreements, activities, budgets, anything happening within the boundaries of our county. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it too. And it's not a can, you need to do it too. Or you need to not correspond with me anymore, because I'm tired of hearing people make excuses for why they don't have time. I can make time, you can make time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's offer again, the resolution, coordination, cooperation with counties, with 4 pages of non-stock excerpts of laws and manuals you can look up, where all these agencies and so-called plans and treaties admit that the county is the ultimate authority. So I love reading their own thing right back to them, because ultimately, even most of these despotic people, at some point, a legal department looked over these administrative rulings and acts and said, well, you can't really do this, but we'll put way in the fine print back here that we can't do it without the people's permission. That way the people won't know. So I highlight 4 pages of this and the sheriff's documents and the resolutions tonight. Email me at houroftheTime@hotmail.com. Now, after this musical break, because I've been doing nothing but speaking engagements all day, and I have more tonight still to do, in preparation for this new task, which I am proud to have. Because, guess what? These scumbags are going to have a hard time pushing me around. I'm not going to belly under, roll over for their buyouts. And I'll tell you how bad it is. I won't give you any names or specifics, but within 30 minutes of this appointment, unanimous by every department, our county leadership, all the elected leadership, mind you, the county attorneys, the state attorneys, etc., within about 35 minutes, technically, scumbag little bureaucrats were already beating their phones to death, trying to get hold of me. I found out because of the slew of messages and people waiting to talk to me, trying to buy me out already. And I told every one of them to go pound sand. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, your host here, Doyle Shamley, in Arizona with the Hour of the Time, our website, hourthetime.com. The phone number in Arizona, 928-333-2942. In Canada, 613-733-4324. The mailing address, Hour of the Time, P.O. Box 940, Eagar, spelled E-A-G-A-R, Arizona, 85925. And my personal email address for hate mail, suggestions, comments, to share research, houroftetime@hotmail.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what was done was everything proper. And it started, for instance, one of the major events was a 26-page jurisdictional piece I wrote, and with witnesses, like common law dictates, signing it, we notarized it, had people take oaths that they had been served, entered into state oath notary books, and held on record at the Capitol, and submitted it for permanent record in the county. Now, under rules, federal rules of civil procedure, as I said in the document, they had to respond, bad people, out of Washington within 30 days. So, Bush appointees in the White House, by the way, his inner circle, just like the current president has, were flown out with a legal team to review the paperwork. And upon reviewing it and discussing it, all they could do was tell the lawyers of local corrupt scumbag socialists that, watch out, I'm glad it's you and not me here that has to deal with them, and I hope you get your retirement before you lose. So we start a chain of procedures. We're not hostile. We simply state the law. And we assert our right. We exhaust our administrative remedies through documentation and research. And you get things like today done unanimously. Ladies and gentlemen. Now, we have written so much about it. It's unbelievable. And we've had the help of many, many great Americans who are with us and not with us anymore. Helen Chenoweth Hage, Wayne Hage, for instance. People all over the country, all our doctors. And these are doctors, ladies and gentlemen. You can get a doctorate in all sorts of stuff. And yes, you can get a doctorate in property rights and constitutional research. So we, working together throughout the western U.S. here, have been making great strides, holding educational conferences with professionals there, ladies and gentlemen, doctors teaching you how to do these things. There are several legal terms out there, but ultimately, a strategy for local control is coordination, it's called. It's not cooperation. It's not forward-looking, forward-thinking, progressive. It's not in partnership with. It's not a stakeholder. It is one of the most powerful tools that you form a group based on our guidance, if need be, if you need the guidance. Form a group, educate yourself to stake out your claims to freedom and power in your area. Educate the city and county. Don't tell me, oh, I got no one to talk to, I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Don't tell me that. I'll just hang up on you. I'll erase the email. Or I might answer, which might be even worse. What you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is there's been a mass printing of these educational materials, professionally spiral bound, the machine spiral bound, color cardstock covers with the research, laws, and the how-tos to do this. So, with all my proven examples, proven once again today and in the courts, and these manuals, you too can do it, and you too need to. All of you out there need to do it. This needs to spread like wildfire throughout the country, ladies and gentlemen, if you really believe in restoring our freedoms. If you're sitting back, just wanting someone to tell you when to drink your Kool-Aid, if you're waiting for a Judas goat to lead you to slaughter, then you're listening to the wrong program. You're talking to the wrong people, and you might as well just turn us off right now. Go to some other talk show and listen to the screaming. Ladies and gentlemen, I will have it on the shopping cart. It's a busy night still. I'm going to be running to meetings right now when this broadcast is over. But I will get back and get them posted. You can get, of course, postage included like we always do on our shopping cart, at the website, houroftheTime.com. Then go to the Hot Shop, and there'll be a direct link there. You can get these educational booklets. And I am talking 8.5 by 11, an inch thick, is the one book, and then a workbook, if you will, for you to practice and teach yourself in. Learn the proper legal format to write letters in. You can get this book set, postage paid, delivered to your door via first-class mail from us, the 2-book packet, and then all the freebies, that you could get tonight, too, would go along with it to help you. And all the audio series are separate, too, because it depends on how much, time you want to put into it right now. Get these books right now, the coordination books, the workbooks, and the instruction manuals. This is the real solution, ladies and gentlemen. Not the screaming, not the Judas goat asshat solutions of some people. This is how you make things happen. This is how we restore our freedoms and republic. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be the coordinating workbook set. Because I just proved once again I'm not very good at cool-sounding titles. That is about stupid, what I just said, but oh well, I'm committed now. Coordinating workbook set. And I'm writing it down because I'll never remember something so lamely called. For when I get back from these meetings and it's posted by midnight on our shopping cart, this workbook package will be $30 postage paid. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? Also, don't forget to email me directly for tonight's freebie research. And you could call it a gift if you want or whatever. I want you to have it because we need thousands and thousands and thousands of freemen, kings of the land out there who know how to assert their rights in a proper way. HOurOfTheTime@hotmail.com, ladies and gentlemen. HOurOfTheTime@hotmail.com. And don't forget we're listener supported. And one of those great ways is the coordination, whatever I called it, workbook set. That'll be on our shopping cart. It'll be easy to figure out. It'll also be linked from the Hot Shop page on the website, HOurOfTheTime.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, consider what I've told you today. And look at the schedule that I maintain and that Rob maintains. And we're a continent apart, so we can't really exactly come over and help each other to keep up. Today is a perfect example of a daily life around here, if you care about freedom. The hours, the mileage, the gas, the effort, the research, the reading, and the educating that goes on. And you too can do it. I have faith in you, ladies and gentlemen. You too can do it. I don't need followers. I need leaders all over the country, ladies and gentlemen, doing this. Not followers. I need Hour of the Time, freedom, the Constitution, the Republic needs leaders everywhere. And this is a great start for you. Don't forget the audio packages, the history of property rights. The audio package Allodial title and land patents. The audio package, federal jurisdiction. Email me tonight, the 2nd of March, Tuesday, 2010, while this show is new, for the freebies, the resolutions that were unanimously passed to give the authority back to us with me representing the county, and you and your case in your county, etc., the sheriff's booklets. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to wake up, and once you wake up, get something done. Don't be the welfare derelict I talked about in my little story the other evening about just waking up. It's useless. Anybody can wake up. Now what are you going to do with it? This is where the rubber meets the road, ladies and gentlemen. It is time now to get started.